deal with that.
And you look back, Jess, don't you? And don't you remember some of those darkest times, as well as the flip side of that, those opposite polarities?
Yeah.
Don't you remember feeling alive and remembering those memories rather than the day to day?
Actually, I've been, especially this 2020, it's been making me very reflective, and I've actually been able to revisit timeline and memory and sensation through the clairs. I was able to relive in a very small percentage than in that full existence. It's like I was allowed to re-experience it. And I go, wow, it's through this, it was through my tears, it was through my loss, it was through my pain, it was through all that looked so not pretty and inviting is what brought me where I'm at today. And you know, I don't have any regret. I don't. Like, I feel so free and grateful.
I don't either. And that's really, really, well, with my healing experience, which I'll divulge at some point, you know, that's the only regret that I had for not trusting my higher self in that moment. And I made a decision based on something that was a lower choice than my path. But then again, maybe it was the higher, because
it got you here though, right?
I look at that because I know that one of my best friends at the time said, how you have breast cancer, you're the only person that said that this is going to make your life better. And it's, as I really believe as a healer, Jess, that is when we shine the best, is when we are going through the dark night of the soul. Agreed. To hold the torch for the others that will have our backstory, that we can then illuminate their path and make it more graceful and more beautiful, and for actually them to see the macro big picture of why these things are happening to them. It's life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you,
right? It's and then the choices, all that we manifest, everything that we have that exists within us, surrounding us, what we've endured, what we are going to be experiencing, is by our choices, energy frequencies that we're sending out to the universe of like what options we want to receive into our lives. I have no problem with energy. I've been functioning in the multi-dimension my whole life. I was born and raised in it. I'm very comfortable with not having to be tangible with someone to know that power is really existing. And there is great transformation happening just even in this distance. Like we're literally throwing out codes right now that are rippling through time and space, through different dimensions. So I know that there is power in that. So I'm very comfortable with that. It was just the fact of, can everyone else follow? Because this is what I'm used to. And everyone else is like, well, if I can't touch you, if I can't see you, it doesn't work. And I go, why do you think it's called magic? Because it's out of what you can touch. It's out of the norm. That's what makes it so powerful and magical. It's not something that you can just, make it happen. You got to go flowing with it. And you got to go with the source of what it is. That's what makes it so beautiful and powerful. And I've been working with people my whole life, before Zoom, before internet, before I wasn't even allowed to go to my healers' homes. Okay, that was shunned against. You don't even know their real name. Okay, there was like a certain respect level in this transformation of the metaphysical and spiritual world for me, where I grew up and came from. I think I'm so fascinated, like this year for me, I've been reflecting for the past few years, but this one's been like, I can see why it's the corona, the crown. It's the expansion of being connected to self, right? So it's like, whoa, it's pure awareness. It's at its pure.
You and I both say that at the same time. We're talking on the phone. We're going, yeah, this corona, we're working on our chakra right now. I'm so glad this timing is perfect.
Well, we understand where it relates. Like we get it, right? The corona is the crown. There is a crown expansion. Anything that was hidden is brought to light. So we have to like really deal with things at a pure state than being filtered the way we've been filtering literally for so long. There's no more, right? It's like you just got to see it all.
We've lost the connection to our highest self and our highest aspects, our highest dimensions. And I do believe, it's as quick as you like it. You just have to stop being in fear and ego, and people think it's all this work and everything. Well, yes, Jess and I have studied a lot. We've lived it. I lived it as a child. I can remember so many instances where I felt just like crystalline body, and I was picking up like this high frequency in my ear, and I'd be in a room and I'd feel like everybody was waiting for me to say something. Like I had this divine purpose, and we all have this divine purpose.
Right.
It's just that we forget how to receive it, and then we are afraid to let it fly. And what's so great with Jess is she really reminds me she's impeccable, you know, and impeccable is a very good quality. She's impeccable with her word. She's timely. She's business savvy. She's very, very generous, very giving. And yeah, she's in spirit. And that's, to me, the way that business should run. That's the way it should run to me. And that's truly also why I believe that we are being asked as sovereign beings to go in and be interdependent and learn what it is that is our true God-given gift. For me, it's dance and healing, energy healing through the dance, being intuitive. For other friends, it might be Zoom cooking. For other friends, it might be being a barista, or fixing someone's car, or decorating, or you know, in with a mask and helping somebody if they're overwhelmed with whatever's going on with their lives, you know. Because now it's a pause. It's an opportunity, you know, Jess, for us to really reevaluate and realign how we are connected to our higher selves, Corona.
Beautifully said. Absolutely. You know, and I would like for you, if you could share, because I got to witness, this is so beautiful. It doesn't matter what location that we've been at, right? You've been in California, I'm in Colorado. When we were able to come together and connect with Source, with Holy Fire Reiki, I got to witness beautiful transformations, literally right in front of me, watching Sunshine receiving this profound, phenomenal element and watching her purge and purify and refine right before my eyes. And I want you all, because there's nothing like her sharing her story. So I want you to please, if you could share. I think back at the time when we were doing our classes, because we start off where we do introduction, and we talk about the history of Reiki, where the lineage is from, what is an attunement to, what is an ignition now, because as the earth shifts, the elements shifts obviously to follow, so we can all progress with the new changes. But then what I loved was, what's my favorite part as being a teacher is watching my beautiful student finding and discovering who they are. So I want to share with all of you. Sunshine, can you tell everybody what it was like when you did, I guess, because this is where the ignitions happen. So this is where the power happens, where people are not sure and familiar with the face-to-face. And then the old school was the master teacher would place their hands upon their student. Yes. And it could have been hours back in the day as we studied. It could be a day if it was necessary, which would not really be something in other words, the teacher couldn't hit the mass because the teacher had to be the conduit, like literally touching the student in order for them to get the element. And then later, as the humanity and earth shifted, it got to the point where now we're just living in this 5D energy. We're like living beyond that, actually, in this existence of the element. And now I don't even have to touch you, because they're saying even better that the master teacher's energy is not interfering in the purity of the transfer between the element of holy fire, between the vessel of the body of the student. And I was like, wow. So when I received it, it was profound. So I want to hear, Sunshine, because you are where you're at, and you have grown tremendously since we've done your class. Can you share what it was like for when you had your first experiences of the element introducing itself to you?
Oh God, of course, I'd be happy to. This is the most important part for people. Reiki is truly experiential. It's something that one must believe first and then see. As long as you're open, you know, it's going to work in this own beautiful intelligence. It has its own intelligence, just like nature, which is consciousness, to go in and to actually burn away the illusions, to take away the suffering and the pain, and to actually recalibrate the soul on a spiritual level that renders it to be its higher self. I mean, I've witnessed myself literally in the weeks after we did our first training session together, the 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
I watched my archetype, and she had said to me, you know, sister, your archetype is probably going to shift, you know, because we talk in this lingo and I'm getting it. I know archetype, you know, you could be, you know, the wounded healer. I could have been the wounded healer forever. So what's beautiful was there was a lot happening even planetarily with Chiron, and I was the wounded healer at the time. And I needed that extra boost, if you will. I needed that supercharged, like, this is going to take your skills that you already have to the next level. But, you know, you have to understand there's certain trepidations with it as well. And there's ego will get in the way, and maybe even your lower self will get in the way, fear of success. And these old archetypes that we, you know, that don't allow us actually to truly ascend and to truly believe in all of the spiritual, beautiful gifts in the world that we have and the planet has to offer. And the, you know, the more that we connect with that, with ourselves, and shift that energy, the more that we see that there is a power and a divine intelligence that when we do get out of the way, it really does work on its own. So I got to experience that and witness that with Venus. And that was really, really powerful. It's almost like I can attribute it to almost something like when you see somebody giving birth the first time. You're just, you're sort of like, you're just numb and just shocked and alive and scared and humble all at the same time. And you're just feeling all this shifting, and it's not painful. It's very pleasant, but I was feeling my bones shift, where I was holding energy that was just blocking my heart, or, you know, and I witnessed it for real. And I'm a real kind of girl. So, you know, believing it is seeing it for sure. It is real. I'm a testimony to it. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. I will only and promote things that I believe in. And that was my biggest concern, was that, oh, okay, well, Sunshine, you know, oh, we know you're a lover and you're an empath and you're about this your whole life. You know, you've been a nutritionist and into yoga, and, you know, since you were a kid, always helping everybody with all their illnesses, because that was your passion from get-go. And you were always interested, you know, speaking in third person for myself, I was always interested in the occult and the supernatural, and making potions and elixirs and things that I didn't even understand why I was understanding energy, and just all these different things that happen to me now that just they connect the dots. The experience that I had with Life Force Energy, like I had mentioned, you know, she was just so wonderful. Jess, you're so wonderful. Venus is her also other name, you know, her beautiful name.
My goddess name, my soul spirit name. Jess is my earthly, Venus is my goddess. Some both.
My earthly name is Sunshine C, and then my goddess name I've recently really resonated with, Isis, and that's, or Isis.
Yes, beautiful.
You're the Roman Egyptian goddess, and I'm or Roman, and I was more.
I'm the Roman. You're the Egyptian.
The Egyptian, and so yeah. Right. Yeah. So anyhow, what's beautiful and comes full circle with that is part of my healing journey with Life Force Energy. When she gave me the ignitions, that first session, I think we had the 3 days. Yeah. And then the first attunement was very lovely. It was very beautiful.
Warm, embracing.
Yeah, I think I wept. It's like, and it was like this. I attribute it to like, hello. Do you remember what it feels like to feel? Remember yourself? Remember who you are? You know, hi, we're here. You know, we've always been here. We're right here, honey. And it was just like, it was this very, like you said, very warm, very embracing, very familiar, you know, like some of my favorite songs, The Sea of Love. It just, and I think one of them is called actually The Ocean of Love, right?
Yes. We did the Holy Love. Yeah, we did the Ocean of Love. We did the Holy Love experience.
I didn't feel lonely anymore. How about that? Okay. I actually got to have a connection with myself where I felt more at home in my body. I actually felt more in love with myself and in touch with myself than I had in a while, because, you know, I had gone through a really difficult healing journey and a dark night of the soul with a dissolution. I'll just real brief. I had a dissolution of a 12-year love affair with thus far the love of my life. And ended up being on different wavelengths than I had previously understood. So in our exchange of love and energy, albeit the dark and the light, we went through it all. You know, we rode hard, and I learned some beautiful lessons from that man and wish nothing but the best for him. But there was a time when we needed to split. But for me, it was like a death. And so I was nurturing that along with breast implant illness, BII, which was a result of breast cancer that I'd had, and I had healed myself all naturally in 2012. And then 2016 rolled around and they reintroduced the whole silicone thing. And I was like, well, maybe I'm so healthy. Maybe this is going to fix something in me, you know, my soul. I really did it for reasons that I trusted others over my own intuition for the first time in a long time. I mean, we all make mistakes, but that is something that I definitely learned from. And, you know, it gave me so much more like radical self-love and compassion. And it really put me on the path big time to healing, because I had to now own it. I had to heal myself from the ground up when nobody was around. I was all alone. I remember at that time, it wouldn't stop raining. I remember that, it just wouldn't stop raining. It was month of February. I'd found out on Thanksgiving Day that I had breast implant illness. And one of them had ruptured. One of them had severely, grossly ruptured. And I thought I had toxic shock syndrome. I'm like, is something wrong with my vagina? Like, why don't I feel good? I feel terrible. You know, and I literally was being poisoned. It was so like interesting, because I remember I ended up, once I got the knowledge and the info rather of that day, I was numb. I was in shock, obviously, right? But my suspicions were right. And then it's like, now what do I do with all this information? And there was a great deal of shame and embarrassment for me, because being a fitness chick and a beach body girl and a yoga girl, and, you know, always being fit since when I was a kid, doing like Jane Fonda workouts. Come on now, in the 80s, I've just been all about the body. And really now what I'm learning is I'm more about the energy. And I really like the way that I'm learning how to love my body and the way it feels, the way it looks, or to have body dysmorphia about my body image, or to shame my body or have fear in my body, but to have love in my body and to have connected consciousness. And I feel that that's what Reiki really allows, that divine intelligence and that love and that spirit to come and flow through you again when we forget, because we get emotional and we get in the ego and we store it somatically in the body and the cells and the nervous system. And it's like PTSD. So
agreed.
You know,
wow, what a beautiful journey, man. It's like, and that's what happens with the life of a healer, is that we go through these really life-altering death to oneself in many different levels throughout our existence.
Like an ego death.
And it's like, and then we're going to go through another evolution again in so many years, you and I, and we're going to have another, it's just versions of ourselves that are serving us at this moment to help us to accomplish what we need as we continue in this process. But it is not to take away from your story, because it's like, wow, this is why you're where you're at and what led you to Reiki. And then after all that you've endured, it seems as though you're saying, like, you are beginning to find yourself again. You're finding love, you're finding power, you're finding another versions of health besides what you've known within yourself.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yes.
I know that I was definitely in a little bit of a prison, that I was a self-imposed prison. But I do want to say, be careful of the company that you keep, because that can cause your walls to go up when you're not getting a reciprocal, even exchange of energy, or if your pure energy is thwarted in any way, shape, or form, because people have agendas that are not necessarily. I think it's important when you have any kind of relationship that you communicate, and that you also have sort of like your mission statement, and maybe even your sort of, not expectations, but standards, because, you know, don't have expectations, well, yeah, have standards, have an open mind and have standards, and be open to people growing. And it doesn't have to be, you know, I tell my daughters, I don't care what it is that you do, just be you, be your authentic highest self. I don't care what it is that you like, or what you want to wear, or what you want to be into, because that's what makes this world beautiful. And when we all remember that, and we truly go back to who we really are, that makes us glow up, you know, then we grow up and we live a beautiful string of moment to moment great moments in the now that are not compromised and out of alignment of what we really want. That brings us health and joy.
As I'm listening to you, and it's like, as you're going, because what's happening, you're channeling memories. You're reflecting on all the things. And that's what I love about connecting into the Reiki energy. It helps us to reconnect in ourselves in multi dimensions. And then you start seeing your reel of life moments. And then you're like, all those moments that I couldn't see it for what it was, because I was just in that feeling of what is happening. Why am I going through this? Right. At that moment, but now you can reflect and be like, okay, I can see what that did to me. It made me a different person, made me a compassionate person, made me a driven person, made me who I am today. And so that's what I also feel with Reiki, that as we continue to tune in, we're practicing it within ourselves, in our environment, for our clientele, which I like to call my vibe tribe. I hate using clientele because it feels so different in the holistic world for me. It doesn't feel like when I'm going to go get my nails done and it's clients, it's like that's why I have to refer when I'm in the holistic world as for society, or the metaphysical for however, you know, resonates with that. Like, I just feel like they're my vibe tribe. Like, you're my tribe. And so we show up because we're showing up for each other, you know?
Exactly.
So,
And I was so on this wavelength as well, in my own way, all alone in that time period, right before we met. So I do believe, build yourself and your utopia. Get your mission statement with your partners. Build it and they will come, sisters and brothers. Build it and they will come. Ask it, speak it, praise it, say it, name it, give breath to it, give life to it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of your higher self. Trust, trust, trust. That's such a huge one. And the more you feel, you know, the harder it is sometimes to trust. But, you know, when you have faith and you're grateful and you assume it and as so it is, and affirm it because you know you deserve it and you love yourself, it does happen. It does come. We do manifest it. We are creative manifestors. We are creative beings that, gosh, the more that you tune into your energy, the more you can create, and the more in alignment you are, and the more grateful you are, and the more you keep giving, and the more you trust, the more it is momentous, like this beautiful love ball.